Hello there, you amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to a new Doctor Who Big Finish review. So for this Big Finish review, as you can see by the side, it's something to do with the 8th Doctor, and it is, of course, Doctor Who Dark Eyes 4. So as you can see, I've got the Centaurus to represent, and a few Daleks, and of course the 8th Doctor. Now who's, basically I'm just going to pop him up here because it's his story. There we go. So, I've finished listening to all of Dark Eyes recently, and my god, Dark Eyes, I'm just going to move the camera a little bit, there we are. Dark Eyes is my favourite series starring the 8th Doctor at the moment. I mean, for the 8th Doctor, I've only got, as you can see on my shelf, I've only got Time War 1 and 2 here, and then I've only got Women Drawn, and then for the only series I've got of the 8th Doctor is all Dark Eyes stuff. So, what can I say about Dark Eyes 4 and what I think of the Dark Eyes saga, really? What am I going to say about this whole saga of the Dark Eyes box sets? Well, I'm going to talk about some of the stories first and what I personally pick out and stuff of what I think about Dark Eyes 4. And then I'm going to talk about what I think as the whole series of Dark Eyes, or as I like to call it, the whole saga of Dark Eyes. So the first episode is called A Life in the Day. So the Doctor is hoping to check in on Molly O'Sullivan. So checking in, from what I mean by that is, it's literally because the Time Lords basically wipe her memory and sent her back in time. So really the Doctor's basically hoping to re-meet Molly O'Sullivan. Anyway, so why the Doctor and Iv return to the post-Werewolf 1, London. Meanwhile, they stumble across into Kitty and her brother Martin. But during this event, why the Doctor basically asks Katie's brother Martin to show Iv around the sites, somebody comes in to steal the TARDIS, and it turns out to be a bit of a Dalek plot why somebody steals the Doctor's TARDIS. I mean, so what can I say about the main story itself for Life in the Day? It's a good audio. It does kind of set up the events, what's going to happen later on during this whole box set, and what I personally think of it. Is it a good story? Yeah, I've actually marked this one down as a 10 out of 10. So I really enjoyed it. I like Martin as a character, because one minute you think he's like disabled, but then he leaves his walking stick and he basically takes on the people that are trying to attack the Doctor because they want the TARDIS. So I really do enjoy that. But Martin, basically, I love the fact when the Doctor mythologizes the TARDIS into Martin's bedroom because he thinks there's something strange going on there. And it basically all just kicks off. Somebody steals the TARDIS and the Doctor and Eve are basically trapped in 1918, something like that. I really like that. But then, of course, they have to get the train because the TARDIS is still on Earth, because the Doctor's got a little tracker in the TARDIS. So basically, the Doctor can actually track down the TARDIS, which we see in Sparehead from Space and in other stories, like in Maldron Undead, the Doctor has given Tegan a TARDIS homing beacon. So I do kind of like that. The next story is basically called The Monster of Montas. So this story basically ends up the Doctor and Iv in Paris. So Paris has really got a thing for the Doctor, because the 4th Doctor was there, the 5th and 10th Doctors met there in Out of Time 2, and now the 8th Doctor's there. So what can I say about it? Well, the Doctor and Iv investigations brings them to Paris, where the criminal estate are drawing to the fairness of the red plaster. If I said that right, I'm sorry. If I said that wrong, I'm sorry. The Doctor is about to learn that Paris belongs to the Daleks. And also, this features the return of the Dalek Time Controller, which was really introduced in the first box set of Dark Eyes 1, and he's basically made an appearance all through the Dark Eyes box sets. The Dalek Time Controller, I really think this Dalek is really generally insane. I love the fact when we get to the next story, it's absolutely brilliant, and it does lead, and it is a fantastic story, I have to admit. Honestly, I honestly love the way at the end of it, the Doctor basically has to leave Iv because his TARDIS is basically took a bit of damage from the Dalek Time Controller, because they kind of took parts of the Doctor's TARDIS out of the TARDIS to make this kind of big Dalek statue, and it's basically time travel, and because And it turns out, after the Doctor basically gets his TARDIS away and he's going to go back for Eve like he's promised, another Time Lord arrives. And dun dun dun, who is this evil Time Lord? Oh yeah, it's the return of the Master. So Alex McQueen is back in this story, and he's also back in the next story, aka the Master of the Daleks. So what can I say about Alex McQueen's return since Dark Eyes 3? I love it, honestly. Every time I listen to Alex McQueen's performance as the Master since Dark Eyes 2, it's absolutely really enjoyable because Paul McGann and Alex McQueen really does have that kind of Doctor Master kind of vibe. So when you listen to it, it's like having John Pertwee versus Roger Delgado, or Peter Davison with Anthony Ainley, or Sylvester McCoy with Anthony Ainley. So it's really like these two really do bounce off each other, like between the Doctor and the Master. So talking about the Master of the Daleks. So what can I say about it? I love how, in fact, it ends up with a strange Dalek fleet ended up in Santoran space. They think it's the Rootans trying to play a joke on them. But in fact, it's the Dalek time controller Daleks that's been basically made by the Master and the Daleks, which is something I'm going to talk about a bit later on. And of course, it does basically blow up the Santoran fleet, and Earth is basically taken over. So really, the Master and the Dalek time controller change history. So instead of Earth being like humans merely, we just become slaves on Earth, like making these massive like kind of digs and stuff. Like humans are prisoners to the Daleks, and not just humans, because we also have on Earth, we've got Santarans, because the Daleks have basically got hold of the Santaran cloning device. Because the Santarans really clone themselves. So the Daleks basically can become clones out of the Santarans' machines. So the Santarans are prisoners. Same with the Draconians, which were introduced in Frontier in Space, starring John Pertwee's Doctor. I have to admit it, I really like the way how the Master has to ask permission to materialise his TARDIS on Earth in the UK. So basically the Master, if the Dalek time controller with a few other Daleks end up coming out, the Daleks are planning to betray the Master. But the Master is very, very masterish. He really comes up with a backup plan. Like, I know that I can't trust the Daleks, but I'm going to make a fail-safe in these clone batches of Daleks, you know. And then, of course, the Doctor basically does arrive, and because Earth has been really badly infected by the Time Rooms, the Doctor basically becomes infected by it. He forgets who he is. He basically becomes a friend with a Dalek, and it's like, wow, that's okay. It's not nothing we've heard before, you know, because in the Time War box, that the 8th Doctor basically does pretend to be friends with a Dalek. I have to admit, I do kind of enjoy that bit as well. So when the Master returns once again, and he's made an alliance with the Dalek time controller, history is hanging in balance, and by this time the Doctor can't help. So really, you think the Doctor's basically going to help, but really, not really. I mean, the Doctor basically does interfere a little bit by befriending a Santaran, getting into the Santaran, into the Santaran cloning machines, clone Santaran. So basically, you got a Dalek civil war going on between the Dalek time controllers Daleks and the Master's Daleks, because, as I say, the Master's basically made a safe like ploy where some of the clone batches of Daleks are actually working for the Master, whereas the other batch are working for the Dalek time controller. So a civil war breaks out between these two Daleks, and when the Master's lot is winning, who comes to help? The Doctor with his whole army of clone Santarans. So really, a battle breaks out between the Daleks, between the Master's Daleks, and of course the Santarans. And really, at the end of it, the Master does get his upcomings because the Doctor steals his TARDIS. So anyway, as I was saying, to try and escape from the Dalek Civil War, the Dalek time controller gets hold of Molly O'Sullivan, aka Mary, who basically gets a whole new name when she gets married, and it's a whole new actress playing Molly O'Sullivan, so I'll talk a bit about that a bit later on-ish. It's not Ruth Bradley, unfortunately, but the older woman that's playing Molly O'Sullivan, she really does give a good performance, and it is believable. And the fact is, though, I love the way how the Santarans and the Daleks are literally fighting each other. The Doctor steals the Master's TARDIS. Literally, you got the Master going, "You can't steal my TARDIS, Doctor." And then all of a sudden, the Doctor goes, "See ya." He pops into the TARDIS, materializes, and the Master's there in the middle of this conflict. Does this is the end for Alex McQueen's Master, you're probably wondering? Well, no, because I have been looking up on Big Finish on Amazon lately, and of course I found one where Alex McQueen Master goes back in time and meets Sylvester McCoy, aka the 7th Doctor, which is something that's going to pique my interest. I am trying to find other Alex McQueen stories as the Master, because I really am enjoying Alex McQueen. So far for Big Finish, Alex McQueen is my favourite Big Finish Master. I've only listened to 2 incarnations of the Master, Jeff Beavers, who actually played the Master in Keeper of Traken in 1981. But he is in Big Finish. I've only got 1 story for Big Finish that he's in, which is basically Light at the End. But Alex McQueen's Master is superb. I absolutely love the chemistry between Alex McQueen and Paul McGann. Honestly, it's just absolutely superb. It's brilliant. I really love the way how Alex McQueen literally just throws banter at the 8th Doctor, and the 8th Doctor throws banter back in, because it really does feel like Roger Delgado and John Pertwee, or Anthony Ainley with Peter Davison, or Anthony Ainley with Sylvester McCoy. Even for New Who, if you think about it, like the whole banter between Tennant and Smith, or Michelle Gomez with Peter Capaldi, you do feel the banter. I haven't really felt the banter with the 3 episodes that Sacha Dhawan is in as the Master in the 13th Doctor's run, but we've got the Sam Intro special. I'm hoping he gets a bit more banterous stuff. So, Eye of Darkness is also the next story, and the Elements is returning. So we're thinking the Doctor has basically stopped the Elements at the end of Dark Eyes 2, but no. 2 boxes later, the Elements is returning, all because of the effects of the timelines and stuff, because of the Dalek Time Controller. But it is the end game between the Doctor and the Daleks. So this is really like Avengers Endgame, but instead of it being full of all of the superheroes like Spider-Man and that lot, this is literally Endgame between the Doctor versus the Daleks. And even though it's like say, oh, it's the Endgame, it's not the Endgame, because the Daleks always return. Look at the Time War stuff. Yeah, look at the Time War stuff. Yeah, the Daleks do return. I have to admit, the Eye of Orion has been mentioned in Doctor Who quite a few times with Peter Davison's run or Colin Baker's run. To actually have the Eye of Orion, that is basically this peaceful planet that we see in the 5 Doctors, basically become taken over by Daleks, and it's become a whole Dalek battleground and stuff. It's brilliant, honestly brilliant. There is such a sad ending to Molly O'Sullivan's character, because she ends up sacrificing herself. Honestly, Molly O'Sullivan sacrifices her own life to save the universe, and the Doctor can't even do nothing. He's absolutely powerless. And the way you hear the Doctor trying to talk Molly out of it, and the fact he's like, no, don't do it, and then literally she's literally there stepping into the timelines and stuff where the Elements and the Dark Time Controller have merged in together and merged out of together, and really Molly comes in with her dark eyes, and she ends up sacrificing her own life, and she ends up dying. So the Doctor and Iv do end up taking her body back to her own time. I have to admit, all of these stories are 10 out of 10. Absolutely 10 out of 10. So the stuff I actually enjoy is that the main factor here is the Dalek Time Controller that basically did steal in the TARDIS. I love the fact the TARDIS is damaged because of the Dalek Time Controller. I like how I like how the Master thinks he's better than the Doctor. The Doctor ends up in the future of Daleks and the Master. Iv is a prisoner to the Daleks once again, because Iv was actually taken a prisoner in Dark Eyes 2. I have to admit, the Daleks have ruled over Earth for 40 years in this timeline. They call it Earth New Skaro. I love the sound of the Dalek spaceships, because I actually got that classic sound of the Dalek spaceships where it sounds like the Dalek heartbeat that we hear in quite a lot of Doctor Who. Alex McQueen is brilliant as the Master once again. The introduction music, like the introductional music, if I said that right, is absolutely superb. I love the actual music. We also have callbacks in the Master of Daleks. We got the callbacks to Axos. We have the callbacks to, the date. Ogrons. So really we do get like a few callbacks to the Jon Pertwee era with Ogrons and Axos and of course the Draconians. So we do get a load of callbacks to them. Merrily, as I said, is Molly O'Brien. Ruth Bradley has been recast. So basically Molly has been recast from Ruth Bradley to someone named Sacha Cluxy. I have to admit, I prefer Ruth as Molly O'Sullivan than the new actress that plays Molly O'Sullivan in this one. Ruth Bradley's just fantastic. A Dalek Civil War. If you throw anything with Dalek Civil War, you know I'm going to love it. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love Revolution of the Daleks with Jodie Whittaker or Remembrance of the Daleks. I just love it, a Dalek Civil War. Daleks versus Daleks. You know, bring it on. I absolutely love the way we got the Dalek Civil War. And I also love the fact that the Dalek Civil War breaks out between the Master as Daleks and the Daleks Time Controller Daleks. So that's basically it I've got for Dark Eyes 4. So what can I say about Dark Eyes 4? Well, I absolutely love. It's brilliant, honestly. It's absolutely brilliant. So my over thoughts on the whole lot of the Dark Eyes stuff. So out of Dark Eyes 1, Dark Eyes 2, Dark Eyes 3 and Dark Eyes 4. Which box set do I have to say is my favourite box set? Well, to be honest with you, I'm going to say this one with a lot of appreciation. Dark Eyes 1 has got to be my all-time favourite box set, followed by Dark Eyes 4, followed by Dark Eyes 2, and then, of course, followed by Dark Eyes 3. Because out of the 4 box sets, I do really think Dark Eyes 3 is like the weakest kind of... the weakest link of this kind of Dark Eyes trilogy or saga, or one or the other. Don't know, whatever you like to call it. Honestly, 4 box set, like a whole box set is literally 4 CDs. So we've got 4, 8, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So yeah, so really the whole Dark Eyes saga literally classes over 8 different CDs, but over 4 different 16 different CDs, but over 4 different box sets. I honestly flat out love it. Paul McGann is superb. Alex McQueen is brilliant as the Master, even though Alex McQueen is the main villain in Dark Eyes 3, even though I do say Dark Eyes 3 is the kind of weakest link, because the Master doesn't really get to do much in that apart from kidnap Molly O'Sullivan, and everything else builds up, and it just kind of build up into this one, and you got the Time Lords at the finale of the Dark Eyes 1. I have to admit, I just love the opening bit where the Doctor has basically lost Lucy Miller, and he's got nothing left, and he's literally finding the TARDIS into the end of the universe, which basically is just superb. So let me know in the comments, what do you think of my review? I hope you enjoyed this review. Actually, let me know what you think of the whole Dark Eyes stuff. What is your favourite box set out of Big Finish for Dark Eyes? Please do like, subscribe and share, and join for more awesome Doctor Who content.